Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. Happy, joy. It's a Ford Escape. And I cannot escape the fact that I'm doing another alternator. Just down in that hole. Do you see it? No, you can't because it's dark as pitch down there. But those things are a nightmare to do because they got them stuffed back in there on top of the axle. I had an 04 Escape. We actually stopped using our alternator supplier because we had 6 of them go bad on 3 different vehicles. And it was a 3 and some hour job to do it. Well, my luck, in 05, they made it worse. They say you're supposed to pull the transfer case out, which would be the little the gear set that's attached to the side of the transmission to direct power to the back. So some people say they can do it without. I'm going to see if I can get anything done. Be right back. All right, this does not appear to be any different than the older ones. I don't understand why it's going to be calling for twice the amount of time to put the alternator in. But I've been wrong before. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the axle and it takes the stub up there and it'll come out of the transmission over there. There's the alternator. It's fun. But I take this bracket off here and get it out of the way. The video I watched, they dropped the exhaust right there. But since, you know, it's Missouri, that's what it looks like back there. I really don't want to mess with that. And of course the flex pipe is, yeah, not as much there as there used to be. This vehicle, it's already going to be a terrible amount of repair for something that's only going to last him another year or two. We've already advised this customer to be looking for another vehicle because of rust elsewhere. And then 2 weeks later, the alternator goes. Anyway, I'm going to get after it and I'll check in with you guys as I get more parts on it. Okay, we're having to press this axle out because it was stuck, and then I had to vibrate the heck out of this knuckle. Well, my son dangled off of this thing here. Of course, he's only like 100 and some pounds, so didn't have a whole lot of leverage, but it took a while. I had to drive a chisel into the split right there to get it to move and then vibrate quite a bit. Now what I'm going to do after I get this axle out is take that loose up there and take that whole thing out, and then we'll regroup from there. Nothing is this different between this one and the older ones, except for the size of the alternator. That alternator is 20 amps bigger, which is a bigger housing. That's why there's a problem, because yeah, that's a nightmare to get out of the older ones. We'll see what we do on this one. All right, it doesn't look like I've made progress, but I have. There is a air duct that bolts right there, and it clips in over there, and it's not fun to take off. You can't get it out of there. It's still dancing around up there. But I got that popped up, and I got the upper bolt out. It's a Torx stud, so you just break the nut loose and then break the stud loose and back the stud out, because yeah, another example of we're gonna have a 6-inch stud and no way to slide it off of it. But now I'm gonna take the lower bolts loose, there's 2 of them, and drop it down and see how bad my day's going. I think I can take the cross member loose, but I'm kind of scared because this stuff is rusty, and I don't want something to break loose and, you know, start spinning. So I will see what I find and get back to you. Okay, I've got the alternator dropped down and tipped up. There's the back air duct that's bolted to the back of the alternator. I'm going to take loose the screws and pull that duct off the back of it and get it out of the way, and hopefully it makes it smaller. I still don't know if it's going to come out or not. Okay, I got it out. Now, I take a ratchet strap and grab hold of something and just pull that motor forward a little bit. And of course, I unplugged the crank sensor here, the O2 sensor that sits right here with the bracket. I get that loose and get that all out of the way, just so that, you know, you're not risking breaking something, because there's always a risk of catching a plastic sensor and busting it. So get all that stuff out of the way as much as possible. All right, I'm going to attempt to show you how I do this. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it's a nightmare, and sometimes it falls right in, just like it fell right out. See? It tends to go right. Sometimes I'm going to set it there like that. I'm going to put the cover on it and tighten up the nuts. Yeah, that looks good.
Got it back in?
Yeah. All right, I got all these little nuts. Set them in place. Get them started. Put the electric on without, having to put it on there before you put it on there. Wiring it kind of is in the way. Put that back in the push in. Runs between the two bolts for whatever reason. We do that for grins and giggles, just to keep us on our toes, I guess. Now, try to rotate this alternator into place. It doesn't make sense to not put the stud in first until you try to do it once. Then it makes sense to not put the stud in first. Up there, hold it square, get the bolt started. Now the bolt started. That's the hole. Try again. You always want to make sure your wires are not pinched. These bolts are snug. You can still move around a little bit, just in case it doesn't want to line up correctly. And by the way, you're popping this pinch bolt out with your air hammer. You've got a little punch on the end of it and you're punching straight back. Sometimes things come out of there at a high rate of speed. But here's the good part. It did not bust the glass out this time. Okay, she's all back up in there, bolted up. Covers are all on it. Can't even see them up there. It's fun. But anyway, it's all, I gotta put a belt on there and then I put the axle back in. And then we'll put it down and check her out. Okay, just breaking in here, letting you know that that escape's ready to go. We sat down, did the bill. Yes, we cut the time way back because there's no way it could take as long as what it says in the book. When I say way back, like a lot back. So you're more reflective of the time I actually spent on it. Okay, second alternator of the day. Charging good. Seriously. That other one was right there in the front on top. Well, not on top, but pretty darn close. Come on. Do better. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit your bell notification. Share it all around. We'll talk to you later.